Yeah, hey everyone. So, Matt Hartman here. And for today's topic, I'll be doing something a little bit different in that this will be kind of a tech talk, POC, POV, as per generative AI agents and agentic based frameworks. So, we'll talk about a reference architecture, talk about the different components available to an agent. And with that as well, we'll talk about where application integration can play a very, very powerful part as a part of this architecture. So, first things first is what is an agent? So, an agent's purpose within a generative AI ecosystem is it's supposed to achieve some sort of goal. And its goal is able to be derived via some sort of context, tool sets, and other details we'll talk about in a second that are available at its disposal to be able to provide, again, said goal to a user, to an end service, or whatever it may be. So with that here, as you can see in this little reference architecture, I have my agent. Within the agent itself, there's an orchestrator. So what the orchestrator does is it's kind of the brains of the operation. It contains the instructions, the order of operations, the state of the current implementation or what step it's on, whether it's interacting with a user or a service, and anything and everything in between, again, to be able to fulfill and orchestrate that underlying goal. That orchestrator has a set of tools and models at its disposal. So first things first is it's able to bidirectionally communicate to one to N models. So think Gemini, think ChatGPT, think any other models you may use within your solution. And this is the most powerful part, is an orchestrator can also communicate to a tool set. So a tool set can be an API, a database, whatever it is to be able to fulfill some sort of data based on, again, your enterprise context and your information. Because, yeah, models are great for a lot of the use cases, but a lot of the information that may be fed to a model could be public. If you need on-demand data of your enterprise context and your enterprise information, this is where a tool set and an API can come in very, very well. And this is where application integration can fit in from an underlying fulfillment perspective, which we'll see in a second. So as you can see now on my screen, I have my application integration build canvas up here. I created a very, very simple POV for this underlying orchestration framework. I created an API trigger to create a Jira service management ticket, which I will then present as a tool set to my agent. So basically I have my input, I map it, and I set some default values that the underlying user or agent doesn't have to worry about implementation-specific details. So think for this Jira Service Management-based use case, as you can see with my input here, things like service task ID, request type ID, I should be able to dynamically set that information and leave default values. So that all the user cares about when they create a ticket for this use case is, well, what's the issue? What's the issue statement, summarization, and anything and everything in between, so that I'm able to create a ticket. From there, again, just given that I make that RESTful API call, I then obfuscate the response via a data mapper task. So now that I have this process and now that it's deployed, your question may be, well, how do I present this to an agentic-based framework? So what you can do is if you go into settings here, give me 1 second. There we go. As you can see, there's a view open API specification when the process is deployed. So my version 7 is currently deployed. I can view an open API specification, which again can be fed in as a tool set to an underlying agentic experience. So it contains all the information as per authentication, authorization, the paths available for my API trigger, sample request and response data, and anything and everything in between I would need to be able to authenticate my agent. So as you can see here, I created a very, very bare bones agent using that tool set with the goal of interact with my Jira Service Management ticketing system. With that as well, I create a set of instructions. So create a user, I'm going to say create a ticket. So get all the details you need, kind of just refactor that information. Then use that application integration build process to create a ticket and return the ID back to the user. So again, here's a tool that's available to my disposal. If I go to my tool set, here's my JSM tool, which again, like we mentioned before, is that open API specification. You can change authentication and authorization kind of how you want to. you can have this underlying agentic experience directly communicate to the underlying application integration build process on behalf of itself. I'm using my user ID because I'm going to have further tech talks as per how to use that enterprise context to dynamically set information. So it's a bearer token, which I just redacted it. And yeah, that's more or less everything that I've done besides just a set of examples that I fed it so that it learns based on my data and my information available to it. So what I can do on the right side of here is you can preview your agent, again, via some sort of agentic-based just agent playbook experience. So I have my agent. I picked my model here like we talked about as well to help with that reasoning. So Gemini 1.5 Flash. So let's start our interaction. So hello. Hi there. How can I help you? I would like to create a ticket. Sure. So let's just say my laptop is broken. Let's get some more details. So let's say that my HDMI port, there we go, is not working to expectation. I cannot present anything. So what you'll see is it'll use that tool set available to it, and it created a ticket. So here's my input. So here's the information that it fed to it. I got my output from my application integration process, and it said, okay, here's your ticket details. Here's demo 22. You'll receive an email shortly with this information. And what you'll see here now, which is very, very cool, is if I go to, just give me 1 second, if I go to my execution logs, you'll see that process that was fulfilled behind the scenes. So agent ticket, all the information available to it, and that was returned back to my agent. And what you'll see is demo 22. If I now search it here, it should be created in my Jira Service Management instance. So very, very powerful functionality. Again, this is a very bare bones use case, just to show the art of the possible. But again, you can have processes with multiple API triggers. You can perform conditional validation. You can do a lot with this. And again, that orchestration, that fulfillment can all be done through drag and drop functionality. So it makes it very, very easy for end users and end developers to get up quickly with their agentic-based experiences. So yeah, that's it for today. Appreciate your time and have a nice rest of your day. Thank you.